Hey, I can't hear you though. Oh, and it looks like my cam is on, but it looks like I'm not showing up. So I don't know what's going on. You do hear me, but I don't hear you. Maybe I need to restart the thing. So let me. Still not hearing anything. Huh. And these are the speaker. These are the only speakers. I can't see what it would be. I mean, I'm able to hear other stuff. Oh wait, something interesting happened there. I heard a beep. Oh, now I hear you.
All right, so for those of you who are watching live, you didn't have any of the music earlier. My bad. I don't know what that was all about. I think the USB, the actual bus reset at some point.
Oh, you mean the bus was at a standstill?
Yes. Yes, it was. How are you, friend?
All right, not bad. So sorry about last night. Hope everything is going well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was perfectly okay.
I was glad to see that you got to eat some sapine.
Yes. I think I had it before, because it seemed familiar to me, but I was thinking about I saw it and I immediately said, "What is this called?" And somebody told me I'm like, "Hold on, I have to take a picture for Avram." And Noel just started laughing. He's like, this is the one, isn't it?" Like, yeah, it is. This is the one he sent me the pictures of.
Oh yes, it's so good.
And it's
been so
fascinating because it's
long.
basically just rice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true.
But it's, yeah,
Um,
it's so good. All right. What are we talking about tonight?
so,
I see you're wearing your Niagara Falls outfit.
yes, this is my Niagara Falls outfit, of course. I had to represent at Niagara Falls. Unfortunately, I don't think anybody noticed. We were all because everybody there was way too busy getting soaked. The
Sure.
But so I have here a new laptop that I'm testing, but I'm not super confident in. I might want to hold this for another time because I know we are retesting some of it.
Okay.
Um, but it isn't a bad idea. This is the ThinkPad X1 Carbon 10th Gen
Wow.
that I have here, and I have some test results. But I think we're going to retest it a little
Okay.
bit. So I'm not sure if that is the best.
Okay.
So beyond that, has been a vacationy kind of week for me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see what I have that is really uh, good good to talk about. Um, by the way, this is a um, we are fast coming upon some some cool stuff um, coming because we know that um, it looks like the fall is going to bring some you know new chips,
Mm-hmm.
but hard to hard to say exactly. But some things have been leaking out that look really good. Um, second, find something uh, that is really good. What if we did? Um,
So this is interesting. I'm on your website, and there's a Meet the
yeah.
Team section at the bottom that has 4
Yes.
people in it. And if I hit the arrow to the right, it doesn't change,
Yeah.
but the right arrow
Yeah.
goes
I know.
away, and the left arrow comes up. I love it. It's a little game.
We have we have complained about this. We have complained about this several times. It's supposed to show you the rest of the people. Uh,
I
believe
understand.
it or believe it or not. You know what? Okay. Well, let's talk. Let's yes talk about this thing pad today. I think that's fine. I
Okay.
have numbers for it. We'll just talk about what we do and don't have. But yeah, let's go
Okay.
with that.
All right.
Always
And we
good when I
can,
actually have something to show.
you could do a little disclaimer that it might change a little bit because you're going to do some retests, but
Yes.
we're feeling pretty good with what we've got.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. Tom's Hardware. Bye bye. Oh. Well, that's interesting. I guess I'll have to deal with that after the show. The episode is named wrong. All right. Let me pull up the rest of the script. It's not that. It's that. It's not that. It's that. I cannot wait to tell you what I did, but I'm going to tell you on the show.
Okay. Cool.
All right. I am recording. I actually remembered tonight. Oh, uh-oh.
What?
Is everything... Are we going to be good over here, video card? All right. My screen went black. All right. Here we go. This week, new chips are coming from Arizona. TikTok. What? No, let's start that again. I know how to talk, I promise. That wasn't evidence of it, though. All right. This week, new chips are coming from Arizona. TikTok is coming for casual games, and Instagram is going back to normal. It is Tuesday, August 2nd, 2022, and this is episode 627 of F5 Live, Refreshing Technology, a proud part of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Wherever you are and however you're accessing our show, whether it be on social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat, through a podcatcher like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or a myriad of other options, through our live stream partners like livestream.com, Twitch, or YouTube, where you can become a member and get exclusive content and ad-free episodes of F5 Live and Piltch Point, or on our website, PLUGHITZlive.com. Thank you for making us a part of your day. There are two ways that you can do that. The first is, normally, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can go to f5live.tv/join us. There you can join us in the studio, chat with us, give us your feedback on the topics as we talk about it. If you're not able to join us live, that is okay. PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe, and you can see all of our shows and all of the ways to watch, listen, and follow along. Obviously, we are on the wrong night. This weekend has been a little wild. We finally got Strike up and running, which is really exciting. We had our first tournament on Saturday, and it was absolutely exhausting. And so, this weekend was not going to happen for a show. So, we are here tonight. It's good to be here. How have you been, Avram? How was your time off?
Pretty good. I went to upstate New York, a couple of places up there, visit relatives. Got to go to Niagara Falls,
Nice.
which was cool. I haven't been there in a long time, and I got to go to Lake George, which is a nice but touristy town, and yeah, it was pretty fun. Um, Got to do some fun stuff with the kids. Go to a creepy wax museum. Get soaked. Gets get soaked in water. So, it was all right. It was pretty fun. Lots
You
of
got
long
you got soaked
short
at
trip.
Niagara in that outfit.
Correct. Yes. I always got to represent Raspberry Pi and Tom's Hardware. So yes, this was my Niagara Falls outfit. Uh, so it survived. They give you, like, I don't know if you've ever been there, but they give you like a, depending on which thing you go on, they give you a poncho or something, like
Uh-huh.
a disposable poncho. But still, it can, the worst part is you're walking and like the water could be like really up to your feet, so then your shoes get soaked, and then
Yeah.
like you're walking around in it, and like that's kind of annoying. I guess it's a good argument for wearing Crocs, but I don't wear Crocs. But um, it would be a good argument for wearing Crocs, though. Also, this weekend I showed my son Back to the Future, and he liked that, so he wanted to see Back to the Future 2, which we saw. And it's amazing how many things that were in the 2015 of Back to the Future 2 actually came true. How many predictions from that actually came true? I mean, obviously, a lot of them did not. But if you're familiar with the film, like, yeah, there's people talking, people doing video calls all the time,
True.
like remote work, watching all kinds of things on TV. Like there were quite a few things on there that were kind of accurate to today, I guess. Um, anyway, yeah. Um, so yeah, I had fun. Didn't get spent a lot of time with technology while I was away. I I mean, I had my phone, but I really tried
Sure.
not to do any work. So yeah, that was my week. How about you?
So I took the opportunity of a down week and decided to uh, make a Piltch Point episode come to life. Uh, I refreshed my Surface Book and I did it as a clean install of Windows 11 using
Oh, very
using the
nice.
instructions from the Piltch Point. Uh, and working like a champ. It's actually working better than it has in years, which is really exciting. So I am I am proof that the process works because I'm using it here tonight. It absolutely works, and it works well. So that was that was a fun process. Uh, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna refresh this thing because I'm using it for more right now since strike is open and I'm over there a couple days a week. I'm doing a lot more work on the laptop. And I'm like, all right, now's the time to do a refresh. But I'm gonna do it with 11, and I'm gonna see how this
Oh,
goes.
there's gonna be a. I'm gonna be. I'm still gonna be sticking with 10 on my next build. I'm actually gonna be rebuilding my computer next this weekend.
Mm,
Uh, Whole new build from scratch.
okay,
Uh, and the computer I have here now is probably going to go to charity. Uh, as we continue to do like at Tom's Hardware, we are, when we get spare parts that people don't need, we are building PCs to give to the Including You charity that we work with, that gives computers to kids who need them for education. Uh,
such a great idea.
so so we, you'll see actually tomorrow we have a video coming out of, um, it's not too long of a video, but we have a video coming out of us building a PC with Daisy, who's the young girl who started Including You, and
Nice.
she came to our office and we built a piece, had her help us build a PC, which is going to go to one of their kids and one of their clients.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, as we're getting as we find parts in the lab or whatever, even like old CPUs, old stuff, whatever, we'll do more PC builds so that more kids can have them. Um, so for what it's worth.
That's really cool. Uh, I recently built a couple of computers, and we also did a video, but that's for strike, not nearly as as outgoing as yours. So it's really cool that you guys are working with them. I love that. It's the
I
type of thing
mean,
that
it's
I
the
think
least.
more of the industry needs to focus on.
I mean, we don't really do enough, or really, as much as I wish that we would. I mean, what we have done mostly is try to hook them up with. What we've done a lot is just try and hook them up with other people. So again, I
Okay.
encourage folks to go to includingyou.org. If that you have a still working laptop or desktop or monitor, because when we give people desktops, we need to give them monitors.
Sure.
Um, we will happily. You can donate it, and they will find it a good home. They have given more than 700 systems away to kids that need them. So.
Wow. That's awesome. That yeah, that's really cool. I love that. Unfortunately, we've got to get into some news off of that
Yes,
off of that nice topic. Now we got to get into some
yes,
interesting news. So let's get down to it.
yes.
This week's Nifty Gifties and F5 Live is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for a new laptop, a tablet, a new Xbox, games, or a whole lot more, you can get them at the Microsoft Store. And remember that current students, faculty, parents, and active military can save up to 10% off almost everything. To browse the products and learn more about the discounts, you can go to f5live.tv/Microsoft. We have talked in the past about a company that until a couple of years ago was relatively unknown outside of the industry. It's a TSMC, or the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. This company is responsible for a ridiculous percentage of the microchips that are produced on the planet. In fact, the last stat I heard said that of the non-Intel and AMD processors, like 98% are made by them, and including Intel and AMD, it's like 91%, which shows you just how few processors are actually in your computer, and instead how many are in your watch and the radio in your car and the lights that power the studio. They are not single-handedly, but they have been a big part of some of the struggles that we've had with car manufacturing, even Raspberry Pi, as Avram is wearing the shirt. There's been chip shortages, and when so much of the manufacturing comes from one place, one small issue can bottleneck. And that's kind of what's happened. And so this week, the company announced that they had finished construction, and we'll define that word in just a moment, on a new fabrication facility in Arizona. Now, there was some conversation on our article on Twitter, and I want to clarify what the word construction means, and it is in the article. Construction is the actual construction of the building. The building is physically complete. It is the first of three phases as part of this process. The first phase is the construction of the building. The second is bringing in the livable, the habitable things, AC, plumbing, those types of things. And the third is the actual fabrication equipment. But they are several months ahead of schedule on this build, which is a really good thing. We need more manufacturing, more fabrication facilities for chips. And personally, Avram, I think this is a good thing in two different directions. One, we just generally need more fabrication facilities. And two, Taiwan's a little on the edge right now. And so having some manufacturing outside of the country is probably a good idea.
Yeah, it is, except I'm not sure, I guess I wonder if Taiwan gets, first of all, we should say that if Taiwan were invaded by China, by Taiwan, technically speaking, the United States considers Taiwan part of China as the part of the one China policy. But if the People's Republic of China were to invade Taiwan, it would be a huge disaster, and it would be a massive disaster for the global economy beyond all the humanitarian issues and geopolitical issues.
The world would change overnight. There's talk that they're set to self-destruct their facilities if that happens.
Yeah, there was an interview with the chairman of TSMC on CNN just yesterday, where he said no one will be able to control TSMC by force. Now, I don't know if what that means.
Right.
I don't think he's got he hasn't said, "Oh, we're going to blow up the factory" or something.
Right.
But that would definitely be, I don't know.
It would be a problem.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Obviously what has happened in Ukraine has been absolutely horrible, and we don't need another war like that. But
true.
Beyond beyond that, like the effect on the global economy and the technology industry would be like a Richter scale. It would be really bad. So,
Yeah.
and for what it's worth, everybody would lose because everybody would lose. China would lose too. Everybody would lose. It would be, for one thing, for example, not to get too off the track here, but TSMC and a lot of the other Taiwanese companies, they have factories in mainland China. They are a big part of they're a big part of People's Republic of China economy.
Mhm.
So, if those companies are manufacturing things that get sold in America, I mean, obviously, it would be. I don't know how you would necessarily like. I don't know what it would necessarily mean for the West in terms of like, would they just stop buying chips that were products that were made in China over this? If they did, where would people get anything?
Yeah.
I mean, but it would be a lot of pain for uh, a lot of
Everybody.
pain for a lot of people, for everybody, including for China itself. So hopefully, uh, we maintain uh, the situation that has been going on for many years. And by the way, for people who I've been to Taiwan a whole bunch of times,
Hmm.
not that that makes me any kind of expert because when I'm there, I'm not sitting there talking politics with people, but the impression that I get is that people go back and forth from Taiwan to Hong Kong to mainland China, and there's a lot of free moving trade and free moving um, you know travel. So anyway, I really the relationships between people seem to be like good. Um,
Right.
anyway, so I mean, obviously, it's great to increase capacity, not only because Taiwan and mainland China are, you know, to some degree question marks, but
Right.
remember that it's run by a company that is a Taiwanese company. So if Taiwan were to fall off the map, what happens to the company? Does a company just not run out of Taiwan anymore?
Right.
Does it become a company that's not controlled by the Chinese government? Like what uh, you know it's so they're moving, so they're putting the factory in the West, but who controls the factory
Yep.
um,
True.
is an interesting question. Um, but it is good for everyone that they are creating uh, different fabs because the need for chips keeps growing and growing.
Yeah.
Shipping, even in a time of uh, peace, shipping issues are an issue. I mean, that's why some of the shortages happen. And
Yeah.
then, of course, you have things like virus outbreaks and natural disasters and things like that. You really, I mean, redundancy, right?
Exactly.
Um, everybody. I also think isn't the U.S. actually we're passing some laws to actually incentivize
Yeah.
uh, more chip facilities in the
I-
U.S.
Intel in Ohio, for example.
Right. So yeah, there needs to be more. I mean, we
We
say
can't
this
really
about web servers.
we can't rely on one tiny island or tiny cluster of islands to be responsible for the core component that runs everything.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a. I mean, I don't even think you can. I mean, I don't think it's just Taiwan. I don't think you can rely on one country
Right.
to do
Sure.
that. So, it's good to, it's good um, to spread this capability around. I mean, look, if you run a web server, you know that you need to have redundancy, right? So if you're running a
True.
serious website, you have a data centers in different countries, a data centers in different parts of a country, and things like that. And if one goes down, another one, there's failover. So where there needs to be failover for this type of manufacturing capability.
True.
It's just too important.
True. Absolutely. So it's important to note that this is not an immediate solution. Like I said, this is phase one of three. But fortunately, the company has had great timing on this. They are way ahead of schedule, which is important. Being so long as everything's being done safely, which I assume it is. It's wonderful that they're this far ahead of schedule, and that we could see, because what, 6 months ago the company said that they thought that putting up a new fab would take 5 years. If they're already several months ahead of schedule just on the construction, maybe they can pull that in a little bit, and hopefully that's what they're aiming for. So I think that will be good for everybody too, if they're able to put it together faster than they had hoped.
I mean, what about the other thing to note though is 5 nanometer is in 5 years is not going to be that great.
True, but maybe not for your system, for your computer, but for your car stereo.
Yeah, I mean for other things, yes, but if you want to, be on the bleeding edge, we're going to be at 3 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're already working on 3 and 2 nanometer, so
Yeah.
5 nanometer is five. I think we're going to be seeing some 5 nanometer CPUs this year.
Yeah.
So 5 nanometer is
If their goal is not to produce chips in this facility for Intel and or AMD, but instead for uh, Sony for their car stereos, coming down from the 130s that they're currently running on, or Tesla for their infotainment systems, or maybe that's who they're targeting is infotainment systems and stuff, because that's kind of who TSCM is, you know, TSMC. God, I always get those. I swap those letters around all the
TSMC.
time. TSMC.
Yeah.
Uh, that's kind of been their focus. Has been being a foundry for those kind of weird chips. So
Yeah, I mean, you need as much chip capacity as possible, so it's definitely a plus.
yeah, for sure. Uh, we'll keep an eye on this and see if they're able to pull any more time together, and what they're going to be producing there. As we find out, we'll let you know. This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by PureVPN. The best way to protect your privacy online is with PureVPN. You can hide your online activities, say goodbye to regional restrictions, and improve your streaming quality. Plus, it's available for almost all of your devices, and you can get a special price and a 31-day money-back guarantee right now by going to piltchpoint.live/PureVPN. All right, Avram, I believe you have a show and tell for us today.
Yes, I do. So
Yes.
this is the laptop I'm reviewing right now. This is the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Carbon 10th Gen laptop. So Gen 10 means it has been on the market now for 10 years or so, maybe
Wow.
more. I don't know if there was I think pretty much there's been a new one every year. And it looks quite, on the outside, it looks quite similar to what you've seen before from ThinkPad X1 Carbon. But for those folks who are not familiar, X1 Carbon has long been the the productivity notebook of choice. Uh, I own one that's like the 6th gen one. Uh, the reason why these are so great is because they are super light and thin, but they give you a lot of flexibility, good, great typing experience, good screen, lots of ports, and and usually pretty good battery and usually good battery life. So uh, this one here uh, is powered by an Intel 12th gen processor. You can get it with up to a Core i7. Now, remember, these are the I guess, newish, new and mobile Alder Lake, old 12th gen Alder Lake processors, which means that they have some of the cores are performance cores and some of the cores are efficiency cores. And the efficiency cores run at a lower clock speed to allow the performance cores to run at a higher one, and to hopefully save some battery. Now, Lenovo has made, oops, by having that in the picture, I look dark. Lenovo has made an interesting choice here with the new generation, which is that they are using a higher wattage processor than they have used before. They are using a Intel P series processor, which can go up to 28 watts TDP when they were normally using a U series that was a 15-watt processor. That means that these use more power and hope and promise more performance. Um, so one of the things that we are still testing here is, what is the battery life really like on this? What we saw on the X1 Yoga, which is the sibling of the X1 Carbon, it's the X1 Carbon, but as a two-in-one. What we saw on that is that the battery life was actually significantly less than last year's model, because uh, probably because the CPU uses more power. Um, on this unit here, we're going to retest the battery again to see if it gets, to see if we can get some more, you know, consistency from the test. But, we were getting like 7.5 to 8.5 hours battery life on this, which is not, which is okay. But prior years we've had ones that got 12 or 14 battery, 12 to 14 hours. So um, so that's what we have been seeing. But aside from the question about the battery life, which is still all day battery life, um, this is a really seems so far like a really excellent notebook in line with the ThinkPad tradition. For one, um, the keyboard is still fantastic keyboard, great travel, great springy feel. Um, has the track point, which I love. Not everybody does, and if you don't, there's still this really generously sized touchpad here. Um, the screen is actually a really good high point on this. The base screen, which is what this has, is 1920 by 1200. So Lenovo has gone to 16 by 10 aspect ratio screens. So you're getting more vertical real estate. Not easy to see on camera, but you're getting more vertical real estate than you used to with 1920 by 1080. So you can fit a little more work on the screen without scrolling, which is a big deal. Um, you can get the screen with, you can get a higher res option. You can get it with up to a 4K display, and you can get it with 2.8K OLED screen if you wish. However, those things will probably give you lesser battery life. So definitely, I would go with the base model screen. which is very bright. It measured over 400 nits on our tests, which is great. It measured 405 nits on our tests, and I was using it this afternoon, and it's got an anti-glare coating, and sunlight was shining in through my window, and which is usually killer when you're trying to look at a laptop screen, but it was bright enough for me to see the content pretty well, which is good because if you've ever worked in an office where there's sun shining through the window, or you've perhaps tried to use your laptop outside, having that brightness and anti-glare is really good. The color quality is excellent. This managed over 100% of the sRGB color gamut, so that is really good. The NVMe SSD in here, really fantastic transfer rate, got up to 1,461 megabyte per second transfer rate on our test, which is reading and writing at the same time. So it's better, it's a tougher test than those, things like Crystal Disk Mark that are theoretical performance and only measure read and write one at a time. So it, it even was able to do some lightweight gaming, playing Civilization 6 at about 40 frames per second. So I think so you're getting really, really solid, strong performance. Obviously, this is made to a really high build quality standard. It's made to take some dings and drops. It's 0.6 inches thin, but still finds room for two USB Type A ports. So it's got two USB. It's got one USB A here, another USB A on the other side with a full size HDMI port, so you can plug right into an HDMI cable, and two Thunderbolt 4 ports, which you could use for charging or docking or anything like that. And optionally, you can get facial recognition login or fingerprint login. And this weighs just 2.48 pounds, so extremely light, lighter than some of the competitors like the XPS 13. You can get it now on Lenovo starting at $13.19. I would recommend configuring this with 16 gigs of RAM and at least a 512 gigabyte SSD. It's available with 256, starting at 256 gigabyte SSD, which is too small, and 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is too small. You can also get it with 32 gigs of RAM. And as I said, you can get it with up to a 4K display. And you can also get it with built-in 5G connectivity if you wish.
Wow, that's a lot of customization on that little guy.
Yes, I mean, like a lot of Lenovo ThinkPads, you can actually custom configure it online. Yeah. So if you go to Lenovo.com right now, you can choose those features. Choosing my kind of dream config of this would be to get it with the Core i7 processor and 32 gigs of RAM, which because I really like having a lot of RAM. And by the way, this is really important to note: the RAM is not upgradable. So whatever you get is what you're going to have. So it's soldered to the motherboard. You can upgrade you probably can upgrade the SSD. I'm going to open it up and check, but you're supposed to be able to upgrade the SSD. So you could theoretically save some cash, buy it with a 256 gig SSD, and then upgrade it on your own, because they charge a ridiculous amount to move up from 256 to 512. It's like $250 to go from 256 to 512. Although with all the coupons Lenovo has, it's really more like $150 now. So when I configured this with 512 and a 32 gigs of RAM and a Core i7, it was $1,855, which is not bad for a laptop of this stature. Of course, if you were to move up to a higher res screen, or or you were to add the 5G or a bigger SSD, then it would cost more.
But yeah, I mean, with that configuration, that price is not bad at all.
Yeah, and if you just get it with 16 gigs and a Core i5 and
Mm-hmm.
512, it's about $1,500.
Okay.
So, and a Core i5 is perfectly fine. I mean, I don't, to be honest, I don't see the point of spending more to go from a Core i5 to a Core i7 um, on a laptop, especially an ultra portable laptop like this. You're not, in fact, I really don't see that why necessarily Lenovo went to a higher wattage part. I mean, it's supposed to provide a little bit more performance, but ultimately, when you're buying a laptop like this one, you good productivity performance does not really mean like super processing power. Like what you want most is a good keyboard, a good screen, a lightweight laptop, and good battery life, and performance that doesn't get in the way of your working. But you're probably not going to be editing 4K videos on a laptop like this. You're probably not going to be gaming on a laptop like this. If you're coding, you don't need a lot of processing power. If you're doing web surfing and productivity work of various kinds, you don't need a lot of processing power. So so honestly, I wouldn't spend money to up the performance. I would spend money to have a fair amount of RAM, because if you get a lot of tabs open, that's when you're going to be using a fair amount of RAM.
Yeah, for sure. We all know how memory hungry the browsers can be these days.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, like I'm doing a new, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I'm doing a new desktop build this weekend, and I I only was able to get 32 gigs of RAM for it, and I'm kind of
Mhm.
sad. Like I want 64 because I don't know if I can. I mean, what I actually really want to do, I don't know if you've ever tried this. I think I'm going to try this like this week. Is I'm going to try to set up a log to see how much RAM I use all day long,
That's
to
interesting.
figure out how close I go to 32 or 16, because I feel like I need 64 gigs of RAM or something, but that might just be my uneducated opinion. There's no question that nobody. I'm just going to say this: unless you're on a really tight budget, nobody should
Mhm.
have 8 gigs of should buy a new computer with 8 gigs of RAM. Nobody should should buy a computer with 8 gigs of RAM 2022. Like that, unless you're buying a Chromebook for your kid or something, like it should be 16 or more. But um, whether you need more than 16, whether you need more than 32 for just opening a ton of tabs and things like that, I guess we'll see.
That sounds like a fun project. I know
Yep, I'm going to start logging that and find
I know
out.
when I edit what my RAM goes up to, but somehow web browsers take more RAM than video rendering, which
Yeah.
annoys me to no end. Uh, anyway, obviously, this isn't up yet because you're going to be doing some lead
Yes.
testing, right?
Yeah. So next week, I would expect by next week we'll have a full review up of the ThinkPad X1 Carbon on tomshardware.com.
Fantastic. Well, I always love to see the updated version of this laptop in particular. We've done this a couple of times now, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always love to see the
I review it. I review it every year.
yeah.
So that's how it is. So we will, we'll have some final numbers on the site, but for now, it's a very promising laptop, and I definitely recommend folks check out the review when it comes out, and consider. And this is definitely one to consider getting.
Very cool. Well, as always, Avram, I appreciate it. I love seeing this laptop every year, and I can't wait to see the final. And of course, I look forward to what we talk about next. This week's Extra Life on F5 Live is proudly powered by EXA. EXA brings the latest technology to gamers, offering the most immersive products for the ultimate gaming experience. They've got headphones with ENC tech, the latest in Bluetooth 5.0, 7.1 surround, plus extra features like dual mics, ultra low latency, and a whole lot more. They've got headsets for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC, plus, and most importantly, they won't break the bank. Learn more about the headsets that are available and any current promotions that are going on by going to f5live.tv/exa. I want to say real quick, I'm really looking forward to it. I've used their headsets previously, but I've got some coming very soon, and I'm very excited to have one in my possession. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. Let's instead tonight, let's talk about, and this is going to sound weird, let's talk about TikTok in our gaming segment. And that's because TikTok is the latest social media company to see the potential of social gaming. They've announced that they're working on an HTML5 based add-on to TikTok. You'll be able to play the games essentially in camera. You'll be able to discover them through videos on the platform. And they will be exactly what you think. They will be little mini games. They get played within the interface of TikTok. I don't know on this one. I'm usually pretty open to the idea of companies getting into gaming and seeing potential in it. I don't know on this one, partially because it's WarioWare. It's mini games, which haven't been the biggest part of the industry, but I don't know. There's also all of the TikTok stuff, right? That causes all kinds of problems. I don't know. What do you think on this, Avram?
Why not? I mean, what I want to know though is who can develop for it. Is it only stuff that TikTok itself releases, or can anybody release a game?
So great question. They're starting with partners, and they will be expanding the capability to. From what we understand, they are working on an SDK, so that they'll be able to allow other people to get in on the action. But right now, it looks like they are specifically dealing with partners.
Yeah. So I mean, HTML5. I mean, I appreciate that they're using a very open standard like that. Should make it fairly easier for folks to develop for it. I mean, look, I don't totally get TikTok, but I know a lot of people who really love it.
Mm-hmm.
Watch it all the time. So it seems that they're doing something what QB couldn't do, right? Because they've managed to get people to watch short videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, they legitimately
What Quibi couldn't do.
or Vine, right?
Yeah.
They succeeded where Vine kind of didn't. Now, granted, they rose out of the ashes of Musical.ly, which was its own special oddity, which I also didn't quite understand. So in the chat right now, we've got Tech Tweaker says, sounds like they never want people to leave the platform. I've gotten slightly better with it, but TikTok destroyed a lot of my time before. Yeah, and obviously that's exactly what all social media platforms are looking for. They're looking to pull you in and keep you there because that gives them more access to information about the things that you like, and therefore they can monetize you better, things like that. So yeah, absolutely, 100%. That is what they're up to there. Um, but uh, they've they've got an interesting, like, there's a line drawn, maybe in sand, maybe something a little firmer than sand, about the people who do and do not use it. Um, Facebook, when Facebook got into gaming, they were hoping to attract some new people into the platform, but I don't think that's possible with TikTok. I think people have either decided that they will or will not use it. I I don't think there's any middle ground on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the will not use it
Mm-hmm.
camp, but I feel bad enough for all the social media I do use. So like, yeah, adding more to the pile is bad. But
I'll tell you,
uh,
I've recently gone the other direction for myself. I don't have the core apps on my devices anymore. I've got my like page management stuff, but the actual core apps are gone.
yeah, I mean, I don't use the apps on mobile because if I did, that would be admitting I have a problem. So you know,
Fair enough.
you know,
Fair enough.
it's sort of like people who are like, yeah, I mean, I spend way too much time looking at Facebook and Twitter that I really don't need to, and it's like, you know, it's sort of like someone who's a chain smoker, but they only buy one pack at a time because they don't want to admit that, like, even though it would probably be to their advantage to just get like the, get the family pack or whatever,
Uh huh.
the they just go and they buy one pack at a time because they
The
don't want to.
family pack. Did you just call it the
Yes,
family pack?
yes. What the family? I mean, I don't know if they still sell those family packs again. Not necessarily. I know it's not for families, but where
Oh,
they would sell the things where they give you
yeah.
like million uh, Costco size of whatever,
Sure.
uh, enough in a box to cause lung cancer all by itself.
Right.
But
Just by
you
putting it in the
know,
car with you.
right, exactly. But I don't smoke, but I feel like social media can be a bad addiction, and like
Yeah.
you know installing the apps and doing like more to cultivate it is like admitting more of a problem rather than, oh
Sure.
yeah, okay, I'll just go in my web browser to Twitter and see what's going on. um so yeah, that's how I feel about it. But um yeah, I don't need another addiction. I need to get off of the ones that I have.
Yeah.
um so
Yeah. I get that.
yeah. I mean, but anyway, from a perspective of TikTok, it seems like a good idea for them. I don't think it hurts uh, the users any, and
Yeah.
the they want to be there, and
Right.
it could be really interesting from development perspective because you don't. I feel like you don't see a lot of places actually doing HTML5, promoting HTML5
Yeah.
as a
True.
gaming platform. I
True.
mean, normally you're seeing like, mobile apps that are done with, various suites or whatever, but doing like actual like web based. I mean, these will these run on the TikTok website or you need to use the TikTok app?
I A fair question. I would imagine since they're HTML5 that they would probably run in the browser, but maybe not. I don't know. It's a fascinating question
But
though.
but it seems like the era of web games has kind of gone, right? Like, I mean, not that there ever really was an era of web games, but people would go to things like very addicting games or whatever, and they play silly little like in the browser window games, and I
Bejeweled,
don't see people doing that much anymore.
early Bejeweled was
Eh,
web based.
eh,
There was all the
You
Yahoo games. Those were all web based.
right? You don't see people. I don't know. I mean, I'm not up on what people are doing. Everyone's doing, but I don't see people talking about that anymore. It's like
Yeah.
there's mobile games on your phone, and then there's console, and there's PC. Uh, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people playing like browser based games.
True.
So I mean, maybe that's because there's so many. You could even stream real games through your web browser if you have a
True.
streaming service like GeForce Now. So there are other ways to do it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that they're trying to kind of bring some life to HTML gaming. Um, so it makes
The
me
other
kind of curious about
the
like
other possibility
yeah,
is that the entire application is built on HTML, and this was just the easiest way to get there.
yeah, good
It
possibility.
just like the Twitter mobile app is a PWA. TikTok might be as well.
Yep.
So just
So
inject HTML for a game into the existing app. Move on. Everything's fine. So it'll definitely be
yeah,
interesting to see. I don't like you said. I don't think it's harmful to the people who do like the platform, and I don't think it's going to do anything to draw new people to it. Because again, it's mini games, it's WarioWare, it's Mario Party, right? It's it's not like they're trying to compete with Call of Duty or something, right? But when it comes to to mini games, there's some interesting stuff that's been done. So it's possible somebody might do something interesting over here. Um, no telling. But I don't think it's going to draw anybody new, anybody who was on the fence, because I don't think there's anybody who's on the fence about TikTok. People are either 100% in or 100% out. And I don't think mobile games are going to change it. But, maybe it'll keep a percentage of people, 10% of people from spending more time over on Instagram or probably not Facebook. It's mostly Gen Z, right? So probably not over on Facebook, but
yeah.
keep some of their attention away from Instagram or something like that. So I don't know. We will see. This week's news from the tubes and F5 Live is probably powered by Malwarebytes. Whether you use a PC, a Mac, or a mobile device, Malwarebytes Premium is the company's strongest protection ever. It fights threats that traditional antivirus software can't stop, and it blocks threats like worms, rogues, dialers, exploits, bots, and a whole lot more. It allows you to use your computer and mobile devices with confidence and peace of mind. To learn more and to get a special price right now, you can go to f5live.tv/malwarebytes. Speaking of Instagram, as we were in the last segment, at least at the end, Meta has been doing some interesting things over there. Some of you may have had the, let's call it a privilege. I wouldn't say that. I would say the disadvantage of being part of the test group for the new interface that the company has been testing. Seems like a small percentage of people, unfortunately, including myself, were included in that test group where Instagram decided that they liked TikTok so much they were going to replicate their interface. The problem is, people who use Instagram do so because they don't want to be using TikTok. And so the response was swift and harsh. During MetroCon, Aaron Hurst and I had a lot of conversations. She had already received the new interface and had stopped using Instagram entirely for browsing, just for posting at that point, because she hated it so much. Then a couple days later, I got it, and Instagram got ignored by me as well. So Meta has decided to halt the rollout of this terrible new interface that everybody hates. Hooray! Ish. So, two things. One is, this is likely not a permanent solution. The likelihood is that they're going to tweak it and try again, or at the very least wait until the firestorm has subsided some and see what happens on a second attempted rollout, because they're very excited about this. So I don't suspect that this is dead forever. But one of the things that came along with this horrible new interface was a new policy of showing you a ton of content that you did not ask for. Constantly, I would see posts from people that I don't follow. It's like, hey, we suggest this because, well, I don't know. And you look at it and you're like, I don't understand why you're suggesting this to me. Go away. Well, the bad news is that's going to be sticking around, and in fact, over the next year, going to be getting worse. Mark Zuckerberg has confirmed that by 2023, at some point in 2023, he wants 30% of the content in your feed to be from people you don't follow. 30%, Avram. That's almost a third of the content in your feed will be suggested other stuff. I get the idea of doing some curation. Some. But 30%? That's crazy.
Wow. That's a good way to just sling more advertising at you.
Advertising's on top of this, though. This is other creators that they want to promote themselves to you for whatever reason. I think they think it's going to keep people
the
on
whatever
the
reason more. Is the whatever reason could be very interesting, right?
Right.
I mean, also the whatever reason could be to make you angry.
Could be.
I mean, you know that. I mean, there been, I think, a number of some research or memos that have come out that Facebook deliberately exposes you to things that they think will make you angry, that because they find that generates more interaction than things that you like. So rather than showing you your friends' vacation photos or their kids or their dog or things that are just, oh, that's nice, it's sweet, they want to show you
political rants.
They show you a political rant that you disagree with, so you'll be angry, so you'll stay engaged. So, that's not advertising, but it is another way of making sure they keep you engaged. Like, what if all your friends are really boring? I guess, boring in a nice way, right? They don't do anything to upset anyone.
To me, that's algorithmic insanity. For me, the more of this that I see, it's the reason why the apps are gone. I mentioned it in the last segment. It's the reason why the apps are gone. I gave up on the platforms because of this. And Meta, I want you to hear that. I have stopped using Instagram because of how much other stuff I see.
Right. I would really like to see an open source or an open source social network which gave the user full control over their feed.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Where you could say, like, for example, why can't you just get an everything feed? Like, everyone that I'm friends with, every time they post, without favor or without like prejudice or favor, like just chronologically give me everything that they post.
Well, Twitter has given you that ability back. Temporal timeline on Twitter is back. You have to go into your settings to change it, but you can go from algorithmic timeline to temporal timeline. As of a couple of weeks ago, I think it's brand new that one's back. But Facebook got rid of it. They relegated it to a second-class citizen, and then they put it under like an ellipsis menu, and now it's gone entirely. You can't even get back to that anymore. Right. And Instagram never gave you the rollback option. They just went, that would be
the quote-unquote fair thing, right? Like you asked for this information, we're giving you all the information, we're not picking which things are important. Right. You decide what's important. If you don't think that something is important, you can hide it. You can unfriend that person.
And you can, I would accept what Instagram did for a while, which was a temporal timeline of things you hadn't seen yet. I'm on board with that. If I've already read it, it can go below the fold. Okay. I'm good with that. That actually makes using the app easier. And then, you get to it and it says you're all caught up, and then it goes back to essentially to the stuff that you had seen. I'm good with that if we want to do something. But this whole, well, we think you should see this post first. Why? Don't worry about it. I am worried about it. Why did you show me that one? And then we suggest this account to you. Why? Don't worry about it. I'm never a fan of don't worry about it. So, I don't know. I don't think this is going to work for them, personally. I don't think this is going to work for them. I think 30% is too much curation. I can see, if you want to show me every dozen posts, you want to show me, we think you'll like this creator because they post photos of dogs, whatever. But a third of your feed? That's bonkers. That's not curation. That's force feeding.
Well, at a certain point, people are going to get annoyed, and just as quickly as there's nothing technologically wonderful about any of these social networks.
True.
So if people get annoyed, they will leave.
Absolutely. We can ask News Corp for an example of that with MySpace.
Right. You don't need. There's nothing inherently keeping people at any of these. So what's keeping people there are other people, and once other people start to leave, you'll leave too. So
yeah,
it's or something more appealing comes along. Like a couple of years ago, nobody was talking about TikTok. Now it's a big thing,
right?
So I don't know if TikTok will be around and popular in another 2 years. Who knows?
Exactly. Because we were just talking about TikTok, and I mentioned Vine. Remember when you couldn't scroll through your Twitter feed without a Vine video, and then they went, "We're done."
Yeah. Yep.
It happens all the time. So yeah, MySpace gave way to Facebook, and Facebook started to give way to Instagram, which is why they bought them. And then Snapchat seemed to come and go. There's a great example. Snapchat came and went. Whoever.
Yep.
We mentioned it in our opening, but that's only because I refuse to have a corporate TikTok account because I don't want them tracking anything that I'm doing because they scare me more than any of the others. But, when was the last time somebody said follow us on Snapchat? Other than us, I don't know. Might be time for us to pull that out of the opening. So a couple years ago, doing a show like CES or Collision, companies were putting Snapchat accounts in their sign-up forms. This year for CES, I didn't get a single one. It's still on the form. Nobody put it in.
Yep.
So they come and go.
They come and go, and the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Instagram and Facebook could very well go down.
All over themselves.
Granted, Granted, I'm sure Zuckerberg will still be a billionaire, but those things are not necessarily forever.
That's true. That is true. This week's DRM Not Included on F5 Live is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. You get free shipping on millions of products, but that's not all. You also get free music with Amazon Prime Music, free TV, movies, and documentaries with Amazon Prime Video, free games, and a free Twitch subscription to support the content creator of your choice with Amazon Prime Gaming, and a whole lot more. We've got links to all these features and more, plus a 30-day free trial and the ability to give a subscription as a gift, all by going to f5live.tv/prime. Stranger Things Season 4 has come and gone at this point, and With any new season of a big series like Stranger Things will always come interviews with the creators, the writers, the producers, and one of those recent interviews caused a stir. That's because the Duffer Brothers, who are responsible for the series, mentioned George Lucas, but not in a he's a huge inspiration kind of a way. They mentioned him as a verb. For those who don't know, using George Lucas's name as a verb tends to mean that you have gone back and made changes to a work that people love and has been on the market for quite a while. In this case, they said that they were going to George Lucas parts of Stranger Things. And in fact, it was in response to another interview in which they had said that they had already done it. In particular, they made reference to a scene in season 4 of Stranger Things that took place on what should have been Will Byers' birthday, and nobody even acknowledged it. So they made a reference to George Lucasing the original scene in which they mentioned when his birthday was to change the month. Now, intrepid fans have gone and rewatched the scene seemingly daily because I have been staying on top of this story to make sure nothing has changed. And nothing has changed. That scene has not been changed. What did happen, however, is the Stranger Things writers' Twitter account tweeted and said, "We have never and will never make changes to published episodes." So, what in the world is going on here? Did they give the Duffer Brothers some sort of like a toy phone and told them that yeah, you can call, here's your Sesame Street phone, you can call Elmo with this, and just let them be in a back room? What is this?
Let's not call Elmo. He seems to live here.
You're afraid that saying his voice might summon him?
Yes. The thing now my daughter loves to say is that she needs things, which are things I would consider more wants than needs. So the other day she's like, "I need to watch Elmo." I was like, "You need to watch Elmo."
See, and that brings us back to the addictions topic from earlier.
Yes. But then again, today she said, she was like turning around in circles and she's like, "I need to be dizzy." I was like, "Who needs to be dizzy?" Anyway, so the but where were so anyway, I think that they're just messing with whoever interviewed them. That's what I think.
Okay, that's fair. Both interviews were conducted by Vanity Fair, so I can see them messing with the same publication twice.
I think they're just messing with them.
It caused quite a stir, though.
Look, success.
True.
I mean, for one thing, you don't that would be really fascinating for them to go change something without touting it. Because remember, when George Lucas changes things, he makes a big deal out of it.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, usually, I don't know. It's a little hard to keep track because there's been there was the special edition, the original special editions of Star Wars, and then I think they made some changes for Disney Plus or a certain Blu-ray release or something like that.
Yeah,
so
the Blu-ray release of the special edition had additional changes.
Right. So I have to look this up, how many different times Han has shot first versus not shot first or things of that
There is
nature.
a link to the Wikipedia article on this topic in the article.
Okay. So one has to look this up because I definitely don't have a knowledge of it. When I showed my son Star Wars, all the Star Wars movies recently I tried to explain to him like the additions and deletions or whatever. And to be honest, some of them I don't remember. Oh, did
Because
the
there's
Death
been
Star
so
blowing up
many.
always look that way? Oh, I think it looked different. So yeah, there's been so many. Who knows? I guess the question that we're really asking is like, can you revise art?
Right.
Is it okay to revise art? And then who owns the art after it's made? And I say whoever has the NFT is who owns the art after it's made. So
Thank
they
you.
get to decide. They get to say whether or not they want it to be changed, even though they have no control over it since they don't really own it. But the so if the Duffer Brothers had actually done this, they would have made a big deal and said this was a special edition or something
Yeah.
like that. Um, I don't think all
Unless
special editions are bad.
unless so the other example of this is when an older TV show that was never expected, that was made in a time where longevity wasn't planned, right? Licensed a song and has lost the license to that song and has had to change it in a show.
Really? When has that happened?
The first episode of season 2 of Sports Night, for example. That show was made in a time when the idea of streaming did not exist. The idea of longevity did not matter. It might go into syndication at some point, but but we'll worry about that when we get there. Their license on the song that they used in the first episode of the second season, apparently the license expired and they changed the song for streaming. And it's real weird for somebody who's watched the series many, many times to have hit that the first time, gone, this is the wrong song. What is happening here?
It's so weird how what's weird in all of this is that people consider streaming to be like broadcasting versus release on home media,
Yeah.
right? So like, I mean, I guess it's also because it's physically impossible, but like if you came out with a Blu-ray or DVD set of those episodes,
Mm-hmm.
the no one can go into someone's house who bought the DVDs and be like, "I'm sorry, but you can't listen to the song anymore." Um,
True.
right?
True.
I'm gonna sit here and hum a different song while you're trying to watch this episode. Um, but
Oh,
yet they will do
that's
that
like
with
the FCC censorship episode of Family Guy. That's all I can think of now. People coming in and going, "Nope,
right.
you can't look at that."
So I mean, that kind of stuff. It's unfortunate, but that I mean, what we've learned in the digital age is that people consider things that are online to never be finished
Mm-hmm.
or to never be fixed. Right? Amazon can take your book away that you bought because somehow they lost the license to have you listen to that book that you paid
Right.
for.
Right.
It kind of calls attention to the need to still own physical copies, or at least offline copies
Right.
of things that you got, because they can always be taken away. Now, I guess I just don't care enough. I find uh, I find streaming to be very convenient, and not paying to own stuff. Uh, you know,
It's fine.
is paying to own stuff is waste. Uh, but the but yeah, I mean this is exactly the kind of thing that can happen. History can be erased, but if they are erasing history for artistic reasons, uh, like trying to fix a plot hole,
Mm-hmm.
then or fix a special effect or something like that, you can be sure that it would be publicized. It would not be like a secret change. Because also, then I think like Netflix is implicated, right? Like Netflix has to go in there and re-upload the episode, or I have no idea how they do it, but whatever. They have to go in there and republish it. And while users might not notice. I'm sure that the Duffer Brothers themselves cannot unilaterally upload an episode
Sure.
to Netflix. They probably have to be like, here, Netflix, here's our new content, like put it up. And I don't know if Netflix would go for that. Like, and if they did go for that, they probably would say, oh, look, it's a special edition and we've changed it or something. So, I don't, I think they're just messing with people. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's funny how well it worked, because I think we all know that the Stranger Things fandom is rabid, and so, I mean, within a very short period of time of the article being published talking about the season 4 episode and going back and changing the early episode where they mentioned his birthday. They went to so much trouble in this interview as to say what they had changed it to, because her mouth, Winona Ryder's mouth movements would have matched the month. I think they changed it to May from whatever. And they said her mouth movements matched well enough that we could dub it in. I'm thinking, and then so people went and they went back to the scene. Well, it's not published. If you made the change, maybe you did so in a black hole or an alternate universe, because it doesn't exist here. Which I love.
I think they're messing.
Which is where my theory of the Sesame Street phone came from.
I guarantee that they're messing with people. I guarantee that they're messing with people.
They're goofy. I can see it. But it does really bring up, like you said, it brings up an interesting topic about, streaming and when is a work finished? Should you make changes after something is published? And so there we are. Fun topic, and I enjoyed it. And luckily, because this is a weird night for us, that is the end of the show. Thank you to those of you who joined us live. We had a lot of activity in the chat room tonight, which we always appreciate. If you'd like to join us, normally Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, you can go to f5live.tv/join us. Or, of course, if you follow us on YouTube or Twitch, you'll get a notification, especially on YouTube. If you hit the little bell, you get a notification when we plan to go live, just in case things change. So go check that out. If you can't join us live, that is always okay. You can go to PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows, all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along. I think that does it. On behalf of the staff that's not here, I'm Scott.
I'm Avram.
And we'll see you back next time. Ciao.